It was 5 to 6 in the morning when Uwe and the cat met for the first time. The cat instantly disliked Uwe exceedingly. The feeling was very much reciprocated. Uwe had, as usual, gotten up 10 minutes earlier. He could not make head nor tail of people who overslept and blamed it on the alarm clock not ringing. Uwe had never owned an alarm clock in his entire life. He woke up at 5:45, and that was when he got up. Every morning, for the almost 4 decades they had lived in this house, Uwe had put on the coffee percolator, using exactly the same amount of coffee as on any other morning, and then drank a cup with his wife. One measure for each cup and one extra for the pot. No more, no less. People didn't know how to do that anymore, brew some proper coffee. In the same way as nowadays nobody could write with a pen, because now it was all computers and espresso machines. And where was the world going if people couldn't even write or brew a pot of coffee? While his proper cup of coffee was brewing, he put on his navy blue trousers and jacket, stepped into his wooden clogs, and shoved his hands in his pockets in that particular way of a middle-aged man who expects the worthless world outside to disappoint him. Then he made his morning inspection of the street. The surrounding row houses lay in silence and darkness as he walked out the door, and there wasn't a soul in sight. Might have known, thought Uwe. On this street no one took the trouble to get up any earlier than they had to. Nowadays it was just self-employed people and other disreputable sorts living here. The cat sat with a nonchalant expression in the middle of the footpath that ran between the houses. It had half a tail and only one ear. Patches of fur were missing here and there as if someone had pulled it out in handfuls. Not a very impressive feline. Uwe stomped forward. The cat stood up. Uwe stopped. They stood there measuring each other up for a few moments like two potential troublemakers in a small-town bar. Uwe considered throwing one of his clogs at it. The cat looked as if it regretted not bringing its own clogs to lob back. "Scram!" Uwe bellowed so abruptly that the cat jumped back. It briefly scrutinized the 59-year-old man and his clogs, then turned and lolloped off. Uwe could have sworn it rolled its eyes before clearing out. Pest, he thought, glancing at his watch. 2 minutes to 6. Time to get going, or the bloody cat would have succeeded in delaying the entire inspection. Fine state of affairs that would be. He began marching along the footpath between the houses. He stopped by the traffic sign informing motorists that they were prohibited from entering the residential area. He gave the metal pole a firm kick. Not that it was wonky or anything, but it's always best to check. Uwe is the sort of man who checks the status of all things by giving them a good kick. He walked across the parking area and strolled back and forth along all the garages to make sure none of them had been burgled in the night or set on fire by gangs of vandals. Such things had never happened around here, but then Uwe had never skipped one of his inspections either. He tugged 3 times at the door handle of his own garage where his Saab was parked, just like any other morning.